Hi, I'm David Guidi. This is my Circuits 2 final project, part 2. So zooming in here, here's our hardware. So you just gotta bear with me here a little bit. So on the left side of the breadboard is all the stage 2. On the right side is stage 3. We'll actually be using stage 3 to test stage 2. It'll be like our output to tell that the stage 2 is correctly putting the right, like dividing it by the frequency, the correct frequency. So we'll just kind of pop up here and we'll kind of come to the simulation. We have an interactive simulation going on here. And really we're just going to confirm effective voltages at the end of the peak detector. So we'll just do this real quick. Right now we have a 15 kilohertz input, so we should see an effective voltage on the high side, which is up here. The VRMS is 2.2. On the low side, the VRMS is virtually 0. We'll stop it. We will change this to say 10 hertz. And so now we should see an effective voltage on the low side and not the high side. And here we are on the low side. We have a VRMS of about 1.4 volts. And up here, it's virtually 0. So the circuit is simulating. So now we'll kind of come back down here to the hardware. So like I said, we're going to use the stage 3 as the output. The yellow wires are input. Right now the yellow wire is coming from a function generator that is set to 15 kilohertz with a 3-volt peak. And so we're coming back to the circuit here. And then the ADLM and Scopy are providing 5 volts to power the BJTs. And so now we will test the circuit by turning on the 15 kilohertz output on the function generator. Now the output is on and we can see just the green LED being lit, which indicates that the filters are correctly passing it to the high side and not the low side. So now we'll come over here, we'll pop off the function generator. Just bear with me, we're gonna disconnect the leads real quick. We're gonna hook this up. This is gonna be our low frequency. It's just gonna be a DC, 3 volts DC is what we'll use as our low frequency. Hook it up to this DC power supply. Give me 1 second, bear with me, okay. So now we're hooked up to the 3-volt power supply. This is going to be our low side test. I am going to turn on the output voltage. And we come over and we see just the red LED being lit. And not the green. So just the low side LED with the DC voltage. Turn it back off. Now let's just kind of, let me just turn Scopy off too. Here we can see what we're doing here. There's our Scopy. We're going to turn the power supply off, which like I said was providing 5 volts to the BJT to power the BJTs. So just quickly looking at the left side of the breadboard, we could see the input coming in right there on the yellow wire, and then the inductor and capacitor right there. That's like what's splitting it in half. The low side going through the inductor, the high side going through the capacitor. And then everything, so looking at the high side first, which is like the top part where these resistors are, right around here, everything's kind of going through that diode, and then these passive components are the peak detector. And then the same is true down here on the low side. Everything kind of goes through that diode, and then the passive components are the peak detector and part of the filters too. And so yeah, the output is on the end of that diode and then comes out that gray wire to the base of the BJT. And the same is true up here. See the gray wire going to the base of the BJT. And so that is my part 2.